So, hello everybody, welcome back to our Kriya Yoga series. My name is Lucy and this is our Good Event YouTube channel. And I'm very pleased to have another Kriya teacher with me, and that's Chelynn Tetrault. And she's also in the Kriya Yoga Alliance, and I have already mentioned Kriya Yoga Alliance, and she's a friend and also, can I say a student too, of
Yes.
Roy Jean Davis, and then also of Ryan Kurzek, our teacher that we used to have for a couple of times. And so Chelynn, apart from being a Kriya Yoga teacher, she's an Ayurvedic doctor, practitioner, and educator. And she's also a Vedic astrologer. And as I mentioned, she's a Kriya Yoga teacher, and that's quite fresh. So today I would like to talk about some self-care practices, how to support our Kriya Yoga practice. So welcome, Chelynn. It's really nice having you.
Thank you, Lucy. It's nice to be here. Look forward to talking with you today. Yeah.
Me too. Thank you. And I would like you to start talking a little about your background, also as far as education is concerned, and then how long have you been a Kriya Yoga student and then a teacher? And also, if you can tell us anything about your Ayurvedic practice, because you have Living Lotus Ayurveda, that's your company, and it started
Yes.
in 2005, so there's been 20 years you have
That's
been doing that. So can
yeah.
you please share something about you to introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. Well, I actually first really encountered Kriya Yoga when I was about 20 or 21. And all my life I had sort of had that, like many Kriya yogis, had that real desire to seek what's more. There's got to be more than just right what we experience in the everyday. And so even as a child, I had that yearning to know more, to seek more. I had considered becoming a nun for a time. Um, and I have a twin sister, and she was practicing yoga asana around 19 or so. And she would talk to me about what it was like. We were both athletes, so yoga asana was a kind of it made sense for us, our personalities, right, to working with movement. And but she would talk to me about yoga and suggested that I try it. And she also told me about this book, Autobiography of a Yogi. And she's like, Chelynn, you must read this book. And being my sister, sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, someday I'll read it. Okay, okay. And she told me that when we were like 18 or 19. So when I was 20, I was living in Boston, Massachusetts, in the U.S., going to art school and walking along the sidewalk, seeing this huge pile of books that someone was getting rid of. They just put them on the side of the road, and on the top of this pile of books was Autobiography of a Yogi.
Oh.
I remember that from her. I remember that light in her eyes and her talking about this book. And so I grabbed the book. I still have it. It took me a few more years before I actually read the book, my early 20s. And that's when I started to investigate what is meditation and just feeling very inspired by Paramahansa, very intrigued, very just feeling like that's home for me, that type of practice and way of seeing things. And so slowly over the years, I would try meditation, I would practice asana, try different types of pranayam, and then also investigating what type of life path I wanted to follow. Again, my sister steps in, my twin sister. So I offer her a lot of thanks. She studied to become a massage therapist. And even though we're quite different, we are also quite a lot alike. I noticed that might have been a good choice for myself as well, because my temperament is such that it's hard for me to sit still sometimes. And I love the idea of being of service and helping others and helping to reduce their suffering, like really participating in that in a very physical way. And so I decided to also become a massage therapist. Now, how does that relate to Kriya Yoga and Ayurveda? It does. It's kind of a long, meandering story, but through becoming a massage therapist, I learned different Ayurvedic body therapies. Because in Ayurveda, which is one of the Vedic sciences, along with yoga, along with Jyotish, Ayurveda is the branch of science that relates to promoting vitality and longevity for an individual, for their life, so they can live out their life purpose, whatever that might be. And one of the tools that's used in Ayurvedic medicine is working on the body, doing different types of body therapies. So being a massage therapist, I was able to learn what Ayurveda was through that avenue, and fell in love with Ayurveda. Took a class with someone that studied with Dr. Lad, and learned a little bit about the philosophy, and decided that I really needed to pursue that study of Ayurveda.
I bet it's not easy to really, how to say that, to summarize Ayurveda, but if you can just describe what it is for people who have never heard about it, just like a definition, if you can explain, please.
Yeah, of course. So Ayurveda is a Sanskrit word, but it translates to mean Ayur, which is life, and then Veda, which can translate to be knowledge. And so it's this collection of knowledge that really allows people to live vitally, live with vitality, and live as long as they possibly can. And it provides us the opportunity to be really engaged in the present moment, because it can uplift our health in that way. Yeah.
And why is it so often, excuse me?
Oh, I just said in a nutshell, speaking very concisely about why.
Yes, definitely. And so how does it support yoga practice? So you have been doing Ayurveda for 20 years, over 20 years, probably.
Over 20 years, yes. I studied first with Dr. Lad. I took a few intensive courses with him, learning pulse, taking the pulses as a diagnostic tool, and then also learning Marma Chikitsa, which is a body therapy where you press different points on the body. But I think that it's really so supportive for everyone, but also especially Kriya yogis, because it helps us to be very balanced within our bodies. Now, of course, the practice, our Kriyas that we practice in meditation certainly supports us to do that. But while we're here, while we're these individualized units of consciousness, having this experience through our senses, it really helps us to balance our mind, because there's no separation between our physical bodies, our mental, emotional states. They all affect one another. And it affects our spiritual life as well. There's no separation. There's no separation. And so we can use the idea of balance to bring balance within ourselves. And I can speak more about that in regards to Sankhya philosophy, if you'd like. That might be helpful.
I would probably take it more to the personal level, to you, to your life, because then people can imagine what it means, and because you have been doing that for such a long time, and I know it from my own experience. We have issues. We have mental or physical issues, difficulties. So can you give us a couple of examples, for example, how it impacted you, how it has been impacting you for the whole 20 years? If you, for example, if we have a switch and we turn back time 10 years ago, so what kind of Chelynn would we meet 10 years ago, for example? Because because from my experience, it helped me a lot in different aspects of myself, as far as Kriya Yoga, and also some basic Ayurvedic principles I can use in my life. And I know what issues it helped me with. And I would be really curious if you have some real life examples from your life where either you had some personal issues or physical issues that it helped you with. And if you can, on this example, if you can use the principles to present or to help us understand what Ayurveda really is and how it impacts, for example, the meditation practice.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's qualities in everything, including food. And so there's qualities within ourselves. And so for me, my personal temperament tends to lean more towards a fiery type of temperament. And so what does that mean? So whenever I encounter stress of any kind, my more reactive, unconscious temperament would be to be very controlling or angry, hot-headed, you could say. And by practicing Ayurveda, one example would be, okay, bring in practices that are opposite to balance that heated type of temperament, which would be cooling practices and cooling types of foods, for example. And so I would begin 10 years ago or even before that, start to eat foods that were more in alignment with bringing more of a cooling quality to my nature. So that actually helped me in my engagement with others, my need to be competitive or right or number one eased. And so my suffering eased because I didn't have that desire anymore. It greatly reduced to help me reduce that. And then on a physical level, about 11 years ago. I know you asked about 10 years ago, but it brought me back a little bit before that. Yeah, 11, 12 years ago. I had wanted to have a child, and I had some physical ailments going on for myself where I was having difficulty being able to conceive. And so on the one hand, it was very stressful for myself, but on the other hand, I thought, aha, I can practice Ayurveda to help myself, help to create an optimal environment for that to happen. And so I practice what we call panchakarma, which is a set of cleansing and rejuvenating therapies to bring my systems in like the optimal environment to be able to conceive. I did have to also use medical surgery as well. So combining the two was really successful. It was really helpful. And so now I have a beautiful 11-year-old daughter. So it was really helpful at that time. And I've been able to really support other people to also, be able to conceive and to boost their fertility. And that's been a great joy to be able to help others in that way too.
And how many years have you been really practicing Kriya Yoga, also as a student? So before you were initiated, I think you met Roy at the end of his life, right? You said,
Yeah,
I think you just saw him.
Yeah, and I started about 2 years before that, so 2016-ish. I started meditating. I actually learned about Kriya from my now partner, Ryan Strong. So we knew each other through the Ayurveda College, and I talked to him about this book. And so, of course, he talked to me about Mr. Davis. Right? And that,
yeah, because how many years has been Ryan a student or had been a student, like 20 years too, or?
Oh, longer. Yeah, 25, 26 years.
And
he's been a student of Mr. Davis. Yeah.
And hopefully Ryan is also going to be, just for the record, for the listeners, is also going to be probably our guest on the podcast, which is great. And he's also a friend, fellow student of Roy's and Ryan's friend.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So I believe I first spoke with Ryan about Mr. Davis, gosh, back in 2012 or so. Because I brought up the autobiography of a yogi, he spoke to me about Mr. Davis and the fact that it seemed a little bit unattainable for me at first, reading this book and reading about this great master who had already passed, and to know that there's actually a person, a master, a teacher who is alive and in the present moment was very inspiring. It then made me realize, oh, I can practice this and I can be supported with what I need to learn. and these kinds of things. So about around 2012, 2013, that was a really important moment
Mm-hmm.
in terms
And
of my
then,
becoming a Kriya Yogi.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, because it's been a longer time, so I also asked Ryan about how your personality has changed.
Mm.
Kriya obviously does something. The technique does something to the whole system, to the body, to the mental field, to the soul, to the
Yeah.
consciousness of a person. So, could you tell us something about how it has changed you, or what differences you, again, if you if you can turn back time at the beginning of your practice and now, are there any differences that you would say also people who used to know you, they can notice?
Yes. That's really great. I should ask some of my friends and family members what they've seen, with the passage of time. I feel like I am suffering a lot less. I mean, I still have moments where, of course, we are human beings. We feel emotions. We have fears, worries, sadness, these things that come up. But they're not held and stuck within me. They don't reside so heavily within. I have a lot more freedom, feeling of freedom of that. Like I was saying before, I had a temperament towards being fiery and quite competitive. And sometimes that's fun, like if you're running a race or something, there
Yeah,
can be fun
yeah.
and playfulness with it. But I don't have that type of need to be number one anymore. And it's so freeing. It's reduced so much stress for myself. And that's been replaced with wanting to be supportive and inspiring for others. And I would say in the beginning, so like reading Paramahansa's book and starting with meditation, I was very hopeful. And now it's like being able to realize those hopes and dreams that you have. Feeling that realization. That's been a big shift. And being able to view life and other people as being very much connected and part of the same. So my feelings of love have greatly expanded as well. Just to name a few. I'm trying to think of a few
Yes, yeah,
things.
yeah. That's a
I do,
that's a very
I
good
do feel
answer.
a lot more clarity in my mind on a regular basis and calm, a lot more calm. Even though I can still be fiery.
Your pitta,
Yeah,
pitta type.
primarily
Mhm.
pitta, yeah, a lot of fire. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But that's a good thing to be a teacher with that, or educator. This is
It
what
can be helpful.
you need. Yeah,
Can be helpful. Yeah.
okay.
Although some people do need more earth and water too. I feel like those qualities, that earthy, watery quality has been able to sort of come up a little bit more now that my fire is more balanced. That nurturing quality. And becoming a mother, that has also really opened me up to actually feeling like a mother to many people, many people. That kind of unconditional love for others.
Okay. And then because you're a Kriya Yoga teacher as well, so and you are an expert in the Ayurvedic field. So now if you imagine that you have newcomers to your classes
Hmm.
and they have people have all sorts of issues and also physical issues. Um, if you could tell anyone who wants to start Kriya Yoga or any kind of meditation practice from the Ayurvedic perspective, what is a very helpful routine? And you can be more specific. Also, you can really elaborate on that as much as you want. Uh,
Mm, yeah.
what is the Ayurvedic routine for the day that is really helpful, supportive, not just for the meditation practice, but also in life?
Hmm.
What time is, from the Ayurvedic perspective, good to get up, wake up, go to sleep, eat, whatever comes to your mind, as when we take the day from the very beginning of the morning till the evening. If you can, and as I said, you can stop
Sure.
and talk about some aspects more, if you
Sure.
wish.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. My patients are my students. My Kriya Yogi students are also they also can bring in Ayurveda. So there's kind of a little bit of a crisscross there. But Ayurveda really, it really empowers an individual to take their life into their own hands, be responsible. And daily routines is like creating this home for yourself, no matter where you are. And you work with the timing of things. So the time of day is really important. And a lot of the Ayurvedic practices, for most people, we actually do them more in the morning time so that the rest of your day is sort of set up with a strong foundation of caring for the physical body. So it's very practical. And so for most people, it's helpful to try to get up at sunrise or just before sunrise, just before. There's a lot of heaviness at that time, but there's also calm and calmness and clarity with that soft morning light. And so if you're able to rise at that time, it with practice, it does create that sense of calm and clarity in your mind as well. We're certainly a reflection of nature, for lack of a better word. There's no separation. And so if we can attune ourselves to those rhythms, it can really serve us. And so waking a little bit before the sun rises is helpful. And then, and you can take your time building these practices. So patients take years. I'm still working on practices. It's normal to not be fully successful with these things. It's okay. You don't have to be fully successful. But you work by clearing your senses. And so you get up, you use the bathroom, you eliminate, you scrape your tongue.
If you're
So,
lucky, we can add.
right. And some people have difficulty eliminating first thing. So then we would work to support with diet and other things to help.
Sorry, I just.
No, it's true. Right. And that's a really common thing. Some people aren't able to eliminate first thing. And so there are practices we can do to support that. Yeah, we have to meet the individual, what's happening for them. But generally speaking, ideally, you eliminate, you scrape your tongue. So tongue scraping helps to clear what we call ama from our tongue. It's just bacteria, metabolic waste, things that collect on the tongue. You're gently scraping that off with a tongue scraper. And then you clear your mouth, brush your teeth. You can wash your eyes, so using a glass eye wash. You wash your eyes with a little bit of rose water or what we call triphala tea. So you're clearing your eyes. You clear your nasal passages doing something called neti, which is saline water. So you're clearing your nasal passages. And then you can do a self oil massage. Doesn't have to take long. And you oil your body, and then you can shower. That is a really great preparation for then, as a Kriya yogi, then you do your Kriyas, you practice your meditation. So you can do a little attuning and attending to your physical body a little bit first to prepare yourself to sit. And then keeping in time with the rhythms of the day, just like the sun is strongest around noontime, that fire also resides within us, Agni, that fire. Our digestive abilities is strongest at around noontime. And so we want to try to have our biggest meal of the day around noon. Now, a lot of cultures do not do that, right? Some people, I've learned there's some cultures in like Central and South America eat at like 8 p.m. later. But ideally, we want to really try to lean more towards having your biggest meal at noon. That is when your own digestive fire, your own inner sun and fire and Agni is highest. That's when you're meant to really digest and absorb your nutrients, most of your nutrients. And then doing a little bit of your own dharma before lunch and a little bit after that is good. Then having your dinner meal be light and before 7 o'clock in the evening. Because if we overload our digestive system too much in the evening, our internal organs, particularly our liver, cannot do its nighttime work. So our liver does daytime work and nighttime work. And so you were sort of confusing your body a little bit by having to do daytime work, and so it was hard to sleep. Your liver needed to be awake. So,
Okay.
so in saying that, a lighter soup would be helpful. So, like a mung dal soup with some vegetables, but just like a smaller portion. You do want to feel satisfied. If you are having a really large meal at lunch, it should be able to carry you over. There's slight variations depending on each person, like what your constitution is, what your age is. I do agree that having enough protein, particularly if you're a more athletic person, is important, but you can only digest so much at once. So there's that rule, like, okay, making sure you have enough protein. In theory, makes sense, but what can your body actually digest? That's the other reality that we have to attend to.
And I just remembered because I'm a massage therapist, you are a massage therapist, and we are very busy during the day, physically working very hard.
Yes.
So I try to eat little during the day or bigger lunch, but then very often I come home around 6 p.m. or so, and somehow I used to be ravenous. Now I had to change a couple of things. So, and I needed something heavier. So also the more protein. And I'm just not asking about how you had it as a massage therapist, how you dealt with it, because there are also many people who work shifts, who work physically building something, and then they come home 6 or 7 p.m. What would you advise to these people so that it doesn't take toll on their health?
It's such a great question, and something I have to encounter all the time with my patients. Here's Ayurvedic medicine and Ayurvedic lifestyle and the ideal of that. And then here's the reality of the mundane and what the person's life is like. And so what I try to do over time with the person is to slowly bring the two together. So I'll learn a lot about some of my patients work at night, which is really opposite to an Ayurvedic lifestyle. And so what I've seen happen though is, okay, where can we attend to bringing more balance? It doesn't have to be perfect, but where can we bring more balance? So if a person is working very almost nonstop during the day, we try to find a little pocket of time. Do you have 15 minutes? Can you bring like a really hearty stew or something like that with you? Can you go sit in your car for 15 minutes if it's too hectic where you're working? And I find that over time and with intention, people find ways to improve that. If a person works very, very intently without any breaks during the day, then they would have to attempt to really have more food in the morning as a way to sort of compensate. That could be something that would be helpful. Yeah, and I've actually, please go ahead.
I'm sorry. I remember I heard a talk with you once, and you mentioned that sometimes it's more important how you eat the food
That's
than
right.
what you eat. So can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, so like I was saying, if there's a person that is in a really hectic work environment, and so they're not able to really, it's loud, or there's a lot of people talking and there's a lot of frenetic energy, I ask them, find a way to go to your car, because that would be at least a calmer environment. Because whatever you're doing at the moment of eating food, of nourishing yourself, you're digesting. So whatever you're seeing, whatever you're hearing, whatever's around you, you're also taking in and digesting. And so to be able to create a calmer environment in some way would be helpful.
So you just can't digest properly if you eat in a stressful environment. So because it's more impactful than actually the nutrients.
It's just as impactful, I would say. And so I have this story. I may have shared it with you when we spoke the first time, but I had a patient, Peggy, who was in her 90s, and she was suffering from spasms in her esophagus, which are very painful, very, very painful. So she would be eating, and her esophagus would jam up. And oh, I don't know if you've ever had it. It is quite painful, and the food wouldn't go down, and it elicits a feeling of panic a little bit. So I found out, well, what's happening when you're eating, Peggy? What's around you? Like, tell me about what your day's like. And so she would tell me that she would have her meal and she'd be listening to the news and watching the news. And so just imagine, what are you taking in with your hearing and your sight when you're eating? And news can be quite sensational and fear-based. Her body was saying, no, thank you. I'm not going to digest that. And so we worked creatively. I said, okay, what kind of music do you like? Because to have her be without anything is too big of a leap. To be in complete silence is too big of a leap. But what would be the next best thing? And so she enjoys classical music. So she replaced the news with classical music, and she no longer had that difficulty of swallowing, and
Okay.
her spasms greatly reduced. And she did it through an Ayurvedic practice of
Mhm.
just creating calm in her
Mhm.
environment.
Okay, so then when we go to the evening, you said light dinner, and what are the evening practices we can do to support our meditation practice or also for people to be healthier?
So there's a lot less in the evening because you've done it all in the beginning of the day. So a gentle walk, if possible, after dinner. It can be 5, 10 minutes, and gentle. It's not like an exercise. It's just a gentle walk. It can really be helpful. It can support our digestion to move in the right direction. So you don't want to do high intensity exercise right after eating. And then once you've digested your food, about 2 hours later, then that's an appropriate time to bring back your second practice of Kriya and meditation. So at least about 2 hours, if you can, after eating. And it's better to take a pause from screens a couple hours before bed. You want to sort of start to attune yourself to everything darkening and quieting, attune yourself to the night. That will initiate, like your melatonin, which is the hormone that helps to create that calm and sleepiness in yourself. Yeah, so just turning off your screens if you can, quieting everything down. So by the time you're ready for bed, ideally around 10 p.m. for most people,
And yes,
if
that's a very good point. I wanted to mention too, if you can explain the 10 p.m. from the Ayurvedic perspective, what it means, why 10 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's different energies that are predominant at different times of day. And because our bodies reflect what's happening with the rhythms of nature, there's our organs will kind of light up and function at different times of day as well. And so we want to align them together. So around 10 o'clock, we are moving into the pitta time of evening, 10 to 2-ish or 3. And but we're still in that kapha time. Kapha is earth and water, it's heavy. And so we use kapha time, which is heavy, to start to relax and go into heaviness and sleep before that pitta time, the fiery time, starts to engage. And if we miss the window, then we get what people call a second wind, and they're all like, going crazy and working on a project, and then they can't get to sleep, right? Until like later in the night. And what we do, we want to take advantage of that heaviness of kapha by 10-ish, give or take, before fire starts to rise, because that fire, if we're asleep, that fire is then used internally to help us metabolize and break down wastes and detoxify the body. But we
Mhm.
need to have that shroud of heaviness first.
Mhm. Maybe a silly question, but what do we do if there's this time change? Like now,
Oh, I know
do
it messes
we,
everyone up. I'm so messed up right now.
so do we
Yeah.
do it earlier? For example, we have 1 hour backwards.
Oh,
So
follow
it's
that.
10 is actually 9.
That's right.
So do you stick with 9 then, but in Ayurveda, or
Well,
do you just go with 10?
I have some demands, like parental demands that sort of have to keep me on the same schedule, and that's no problem. But I suggest just slowly shifting your time if you can, or you just know for 2 weeks it's going to be a little wonky feeling. You know,
And
I wish they would change daylight savings, but that's a whole other thing. Maybe we can all rise up and protest.
I was just curious if it's a mental thing. For example, if we shift slowly towards the different time, or if the energies on the planet are the same and we just shift, you know what I mean? We just shift the...
We're going to stay more in alignment with the quality of light. And so in the wintertime, we have less light in general. So we're naturally going to be, for those of us that live in the hemispheres where we have more of the seasons, in the wintertime, you're generally a little bit less active and you're going more inward. It's actually a wonderful time to actually elongate your meditation practices and do less outward external work if you have the ability. But in the wintertime, we generally need actually a little bit more rest. And so attuning yourself with that extra darkness is helpful. It's helpful. So even going to sleep a little bit earlier and then having a little bit more sleep can be helpful and restful. And then in the summer, less, needing a little bit less.
Yes. One limb of yoga is asanas. So this is there is this 8-limb system of Patanjali, and we are going to cover it in some other session. But asana is from yoga. It's a posture. And it's also very important to train that in a way, or to use hatha yoga to build good posture. So if you can tell us a little bit about why or how yoga, physical hatha yoga practice is beneficial to meditation practice.
I think hatha means sun, moon. Does it not? So it's about balance.
Yes. Or any kind of physical yoga.
Yeah.
Or any kind of...
So we have different nadis, different subtle channels in our beingness, and one is more related to what we would say a cooler or lunar energy, and one is more related to a solar or heated type of energy. And hatha yoga, as well as pranayam, different kinds of pranayam, can help to balance those energies within us. Some people may lean more towards that cooler lunar energy, and some may lean more towards the solar, but we really are looking to find that balance of the two. And so hatha yoga can really help to calm or uplift our state of awareness so that it can prepare us to then sit in meditation, have a more effective or connected meditation. Yeah, so
and do you do
helpful before meditation? Yes. Yeah, I have a very modest practice. It's about 10-15 minutes, and it's about 5 days a week or so. Other days I may extend because I am quite physically active. I will be out hiking or going for a short jog or something like that as well. Yeah.
And when you do your Ayurvedic practice, this is a curious question. How many people a day do you have, or how many do you work every single day with your clients, or how many hours?
5 days a week, and including most Saturdays. I don't see patients on Wednesdays because that's a half a day of school for my daughter, so I like to attend to her on that day. I don't see a lot of patients, about 4 patients a day, because again, I don't want to overextend myself, and I like to be very present, and I know that that's my capacity. That's my capacity.
Okay.
And that's a blend of sometimes I will work doing body therapies with a patient. Sometimes it is consulting with them, checking up on how they're doing with their practices. And also because I'm an Ayurvedic doctor, I also work with treatment protocols as well, if someone has like a deeper imbalance or illness that they're dealing with.
And I have one more question before we wrap up, because you are also a co-founder of Kriya Yoga Alliance and also living Kriya Yoga, and that's with your partner, Ryan Strong. Can you just briefly tell us something about those two, how do we call that? Not communities, but is it a community or it's a school?
Yeah.
Kriya Yoga, living Kriya Yoga is a school?
Yes, living Kriya
So if you
Yoga.
can tell us something about that.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So, Living Kriya Yoga is an organization that includes a school. And so, Ryan Strong, he will be leading the first Kriya Yoga training coming up in the beginning of 2026. So, we're announcing that in the next couple of weeks. As long as we also offer monthly meditation sessions. And so participants, they come and they ask questions about meditation, about Kriya Yoga, followed by a meditation. And so that's been a really supportive way to build community and support people regularly and in real time. So we're really excited about that. And then Kriya Yoga Alliance, that's more of a community. So there's about 6 or 7 of us. We came together, all Kriya yogis that have a strong practice, where we wanted to be able to connect with each other, but also offer regular Sunday services to the larger Kriya Yoga community. And that's welcome, and anyone is welcome to attend our KYA. So we each take turns offering a talk about Kriya Yoga and meditation, followed by meditation. And then Ryan Strong and I, we actually have people ask questions so that we can support people with their practice that way.
Okay. So, Chelynn, I think you wrapped it up really nicely, and it was really nice talking to you. Thank you very much for having time for us. And I'm sure we will meet sometime in the future with another sequel, with another topic concerning either health or Ayurveda or Kriya Yoga.
Yes.
And I would like to ask you, can people reach out to you, or are you open to online counseling as far as Ayurveda is concerned?
I'm very happy to speak with anyone, and they can reach me through either my website, which I think you're putting in the notes,
I'm going to.
Great, or through livingkriyayoga.org. There's a place on that website to submit inquiries or questions and that kind of thing.
Excellent. So I'm going to put all the information under the video. It was, as I said, nice talking to you, and I'm going to be looking forward to talking to you some other time, Chelynn. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.